Hello, Contrarians, listeners, fans, you people checking out this video from wherever it is that you're checking it out, Facebook, YouTube, or Patron channel. Welcome to our third Dual QVR. We did Teen Titans Go to the Movies, we did Bad Genius, and now here we are for Bullet Train. Pretty much, I can tell you, because I've seen it before, Alex hasn't, that this movie is not like the previous two. Not that the second one was like the first one either. So these QVRs are much like our main feed since the Patron Takeover happened. They're just all over the place. Yeah, that's a good thing. Bullet Train is a Brad Pitt action vehicle, I would say. Alex, you haven't seen it, but I'm sure you're aware of it. Like you were aware of its existence, if I remember correctly. I don't know which episode, which recording, but you mentioned that your sister had seen it. I don't think she was impressed by it. Is that correct?
Yeah, she said it was okay. It was just way too long. It was her review of it.
Yes, because I said that sounds like somebody that's related to you who would complain about the length of the movie. Well, what are you thinking? I mean, Brad Pitt in a movie called Bullet Train, and your sister said it was too long. What do you think you're in for here?
I remember seeing the trailer. I saw it in a theater, so I'm trying to remember what it might have been on Jackass when I saw that. When did this come out?
Halloween Ends?
Yeah. No, I don't know. Whatever the case. Yeah, it looked kind of fun. It's by the guy who did Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2, Hobbs and Shaw, and Nobody, which I never saw Nobody because that had pretty mixed response. Seems like this did too, right? It was kind of split people.
Yeah, I've seen Nobody and I've seen Deadpool 2. I saw the trailer for Hobbs and Shaw and I'm like, nope, that's it. I haven't seen Atomic Blonde, but I saw a trailer for that one and I wanted to watch it. I just didn't get around to it. But it's an action guy. So,
yeah, I know Bad Bunny's in this and Kick-Ass and Brian Tyree Henry. I always forget that fella's name. I remember it looked fun, but not fun enough for me to go to the theater to see it. Because it was a theatrical release, right? Or did it go straight to Netflix?
No, it was playing in theaters. And then by the end of the year, I don't know when it came out, but by the end of the year, it was on Netflix. Because when my mother was visiting for Christmas, that was a movie that was there. And one night when she went to bed early, I just watched the whole thing. I got on the stationary bike and I just watched Brad Pitt beating people up. It was great. So
August 5th of 2022 is when it came out. So
all right. So,
yeah, I mean, I like Brad Pitt, so
it's on the record.
Is high.
We really like Brad Pitt on this show. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. Well, I look forward to rewatching this. Not really because I think that I'm going to get any extra meaning, a new layer of meaning out of it on this rewatch. I mean, maybe I will, but I don't expect that. I think that maybe I'll pick up on a few things that I might enjoy now that I know how the story plays out. But the main thing I'm looking forward to is just seeing your reaction and interacting with you halfway through the movie and at the end of the movie, just to see if you end up agreeing with your sister or if you end up saying that you wish the movie was longer.
Extraordinarily rare.
It could happen. I know there's at least one episode where you've said, sometimes movies need to be longer. I don't remember which movie we were talking about, but
rarely, but yes.
Yes. So for those of you who are here for the first time, this is your first QVR, you just type Bullet Train and this is what popped up. What we do on the quick video reviews is we do this little intro before we watch the movie. Then we stop halfway through. We come in and talk about what's been going on so far, what we think is going to happen. And then we finish the movie, come back and do one last segment after it's over. And we tell you how we feel. If you're on our Patreon channel, we do that individually. Now that we're having this special event, the Patron Takeover, we're doing them together, dual QVRs. So that's where we're at. Alex, how long is this bad boy?
It's over 2 hours. I know that. 2 hours and 5 minutes.
All right, 2 hours and 5 minutes. So an hour and 2 minutes in. I think we can maybe
just do an hour 5. Let's not
an hour 5.
Complicate this.
Okay. You don't want to do an hour and 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Oh, it's based on a novel. I guess I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. All right, cool. So an hour and 5 minutes. We'll meet here and we will talk about Brad Pitt and all the people that he's fighting. I really hope that you enjoy this, Alex.
Me too. I never go into a movie not wanting to enjoy it, but yeah, I like Brad, and it'll be interesting to see Bad Bunny. Michael Shannon also, who I'm a big fan of. So
okay. Well, I also look forward to you pointing out who Bad Bunny is, because I don't know. All right.
A shame.
We'll see you guys in an hour and 5 minutes.
You will know first, I'll come for you.
Dude, I don't even know you!
I gotta get off this train.
Was that a snake?
Can you get Pierre so? The train.
Welcome back. Here we are, an hour-ish into Bullet Train. We're, I don't know if it's like 10 stations, 10 stops. We're like on the 5th stop.
Approaching Kyoto.
We're approaching Kyoto at the speed of a bullet, I guess. All right, Alex. I started rewatching this movie, and I probably was like 10 minutes in or so, and I'm like, I think that maybe Alex will hate this. Because it's just it's shtick, and I'm like, if you don't like the shtick, then you're fucked, because there's 2 hours and 5 minutes of shtick just strung together. So hit me with your first impressions.
Yeah, it's not good, man. And I love Brad Pitt. Kind of got a kick out of the opening being an homage to Saturday Night Fever, but it's like just that wannabe Tarantino. This is kind of more wannabe Guy Ritchie. It just feels like it really, to me, in a lot of ways, feels like the Boondock Saints, just with like a bigger cast.
Oh my god, that is
an
I wouldn't say a low
indictment.
blow, but yeah, that's a harsh accusation.
Just like that, those sporadic like short films of exposition that are and I don't know. There's like Tarantino does shtick in his movies and stuff, but
But when you see it, you're like, that's Tarantino. You don't see like,
Yeah.
oh, that's somebody trying to be Tarantino. And okay,
and
so
also it's also like the dialogue is so bad. I was gonna say Lord Miller level just to pop you, but it's more, it's obviously written by the guy who did Deadpool, but it kind of works in Deadpool because that's kind of how the character is, and not everybody talks that way. Did that fella write or just direct Deadpool?
I want to say
Deadpool.
I think he just directed it. I think Deadpool was a team of
Ryan
people.
Reynolds was a writer on that. Yeah, well, whatever the case, it clearly, like, I don't know, it's someone who's watched Deadpool or watched like what is supposed to be funny for quippy dialogue. Now I love Brad Pitt, and Kick-Ass is actually pretty funny in this, just like his mannerisms and shit. But like the fucking Bad Bunny's whole character is so stupid to me.
Who is
He's kind
Bad
of fun.
Bunny? Is he the wolf or is he the son?
Yes.
Okay.
he's the
Well,
wolf.
I was like, it's one of those two, because I
Yeah.
knew all the other actors. So
You should know who Bad Bunny is. But yeah, he does have a pretty small part. He's kind of funny, I guess, but like Brad's whole character, how nothing really gets a rise out of him. It's so like annoying. It feels like it's written by like a film student, honestly. That was given like a huge budget.
I mean, I can see that. I don't know what is that distinguishes, like what makes it work, right? When is it that you go, because you can accuse Guy Ritchie of being a Tarantino wannabe, right?
Yeah,
but
true.
somehow he's managed to be like, no, he's just Guy Ritchie. So I think that there is this genre of like the crime movies or the ensemble movies that are just where people just tell each other stories and they're quippy and they're just like, they go on monologues about Thomas the Train and how many people did we kill this time, or like the story of the White Death. And
that was the part where I was like, if this is what this is, I'm done. The flashback to like them killing a bunch of people, and again, I'm down with like violence and shit in movies, but it was just so like self-masturbatory that I was just like,
but if you're having fun, then you're like, sure, give it to me, right?
I guess, yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we can just like trace a direct line from that sequence to like a sequence in a Tarantino movie that is pretty much the same thing, where they're just
probably.
Oh, then again, you do. I was gonna say hate. No, you dislike Kill Bill, so
big time.
And Kill Bill has a little bit of that sensibilities, but I mean, I'm having a good time, and I had a good time the first time I watched it, and so I don't know what makes this work for me versus something like I always go to Lucky Number 11, the Josh Hartnett vehicle that never was.
Did not care for that.
No, but it's the same thing. Like I remember Lucky Number 11 was that it's like a lot of big name actors with dialogue that's supposed to be clever dialogue and just acting like in a Tarantino story, but I was just left cold. And I remember that feeling of, why am I watching this Tarantino imitation, right? And but I don't feel that in with Bullet Train. And you're right. I think that it's more Guy Ritchie, just because most of them are British or are sounding British. That made me think of a Guy Ritchie. I think a lot of it is the cast. I think that the Brad Pitt's charisma, Kick-Ass is doing well. What do you know Brian Tyree Henry from?
Something we watched, right?
Lemon. Has he been in the Contrarians before?
Joey King, I was trying to figure out where I know her face from, and she is in The Dark Knight Rises. That's where it was from.
Who is she in The Dark Knight Rises?
Young Talia al Ghul, like in the flashback to where Bane rescues her.
Okay. She's in the first season of Fargo. She's one of the main characters there.
The Joker, we know him from Joker. And Child's Play, he's the detective in that. So
okay, I haven't seen the remake.
He's on a good footing with me.
He's on Eternals, so he's part of the MCU already.
No, who isn't?
Much like Kick-Ass. Oh, so here's the thing. I did not know until I think it was on my Letterboxd review that I said, man, I don't know how I feel about Kick-Ass's British accent. And it turns out that he's British. I don't know if that's how he talks when he's not acting like he's American. But did you know he was British?
Oh, I forgot about that. You're right. Because when I saw Kick-Ass, like I watched an interview or something, like a press scrum, and he was talking. I was like, wait a minute. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good on him.
Brian Tyree Henry is not, and actually he's not British. And I think it's Filmbusters Paul was like, that was a terrible British accent. I couldn't tell. I just thought he was being British.
Oh, the son who like bleeds out of his eyes. That's the kid from Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Is he?
Apparently.
Not Ezra Miller. Okay.
And then what was the other?
Well, you have when you say the son, right? I was thinking the son that opens the movie, the guy that's trying to seek revenge for his little boy being pushed.
I don't know, man. Channing Tatum cameo for no reason.
Not to make a sex joke twice.
I really just, again, it goes back to what we always say about these things. If you're with it, it's cool.
That's the problem. Because
like that fight scene where the stewardess like comes in and like there's a discussion about what I was just like in agony watching that.
And I said, I'm like, there's a 50-50 chance that Alex doesn't find this amusing, and if he doesn't, then this is going to be painful. But there is, I was also pointing out the things that you might enjoy. I guess I think that maybe you would enjoy the stunt work. I don't think that this is, there's not the CGI that you dislike in so many modern movies. Like, I mean, this is real
there's
people.
A lot of CGI blood.
Right, but it's still real people throwing punches and kicks, and
it's immediately like done away with CG blood.
Do you want Brad Pitt to really bleed?
No. I did. He does have the Ned Flanders, the Bible he carries on his chest when he gets stabbed in Bad Bunny's night. Is that his cell phone? I guess
it's his cell phone. Yeah, it's one of the bits throughout the movie. He keeps changing phones because they keep getting destroyed.
It is funny, like when he's observing the Japanese toilet, like that has the bidet and like the dry cleaner on it. That's funny. But
when he says, "If I had one in the chamber right now, I would have a great time." Did you recognize the voice of his handler?
No, who is it?
I'm not going to tell you. It's a reveal at the end.
Oh, okay.
So, but you're pretty good at recognizing voices. That's why I didn't know if you would have picked up on it. Well, not going to lie to you, Alex. You're in for another hour of the same.
It seems that way.
Yeah. You didn't like the fight
Brian,
where he's defending himself with the suitcase, with the briefcase.
I guess. Yeah. Brian Tyree Henry just drank the bottle that Brad Pitt put that solution in, so we'll see what happens. Yeah, everything. It just seems so goofy, and I think that's obviously part of the appeal of it. But it's just, this isn't doing it for me, man. I saw our buddy Brandon Curtis gave this 1 star in Letterboxd, and I might have to sync up with him and compare notes.
Okay, you don't have to go to the dark side. I mean, you don't have to.
Why are we doing this again? Who
KT and Oti.
KT and Oti. Okay.
If I remember correctly, they liked it. I remember. I think they even they might have covered it on their show, because I think
Right on.
they had a good time. You know what? I think you might have hit on something though. I like that it's goofy. I like that it doesn't take itself seriously, because that's what helps me not be annoyed by it. I'm like, oh yeah, we're just having a good time. We're just, it knows it's really silly.
Mm-hmm.
And little things like, I just know that Thomas the Tank Engine monologue, for example, would have gotten on my nerves if it was somebody else saying it, or if the context around it was different. But for some
Like,
reason, it was just
all right,
like,
so do this test to yourself. Like when you're thinking of that with a dialogue, imagine it's Jonah Hill saying it, and I know you'll be like,
"Whew, already,
yeah.
yeah. Because I think Jonah Hill would be kind of like winking at the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Terry Henry is being dead, like the movie is silly, but he's being dead serious when he's delivering it, and I think that helps. All right, well, there's lots of stunts and twists and turns ahead of us, Alex, and I don't know, maybe there's a couple of big names that haven't shown up yet, so maybe that will swoon you over to the positive. Not saying that it has to be 4 stars, but man, it doesn't have to be 1 star either.
Time will tell.
Time will tell. All right. Well, for the record, I'm still having a good time, and I did pick up on a couple things I didn't the first time around.
It's colorful enough to like. It's not a waste of time.
Do you like a
obviously it wouldn't be a waste of time to begin with because it's for our wonderful patrons, but it's visually stimulating. The snake thing I know is going to pay off, and it's just annoying to me already. It's just unnecessary, so silly. But hey, it's better than another superhero movie.
Look at that. I was going to say fully original material, but no, it's based on a book. Is that right?
Maria Beetle. Maria Bituru is a black humor thriller novel by Japanese author Kaotaro Ishika, and it was published in 2010, later translated to English as Bullet Train.
All right.
So there you go.
There you go. Okay. So we're going to finish this bad boy and come back and just cross your fingers that Alex finds something positive to say about what happens next. All right. We'll see you in about an hour. And we are back. This is it. We arrived at the last station. We arrived at Kyoto. We faced off.
Shin Nakamura's from. I think I already said that, but
it's worth
just to reiterate.
Yeah. We survived our battle with Michael Shannon, and here we are.
Revolver Ocelot? You won't get that, Julio, but I know someone listening to this will. He's playing Revolver Ocelot.
Is that a wrestler?
No, Revolver Ocelot's the bad guy in the Metal Gear Solid franchise.
Oh, well, now I'm sad that I didn't get the joke. I just assume whenever you throw a name that I don't know, I'm like, okay, that must be a wrestler.
I mean, that's a very fair assumption to make, but yeah, Revolver Ocelot was he KGB? He's just this Russian dude that's, one of Snake's sworn enemies. And the way Michael Shannon's talking is a lot like how Revolver Ocelot speaks. The only difference is, no, he had a revolver too, so...
Did he die at the hands of his own revolver?
Well, the story of Revolver Ocelot's a bit of a tangled web.
Okay.
He got his arm cut off and then replaced by Liquid Snake's arm, which it took over his body, and I mean, we're talking decades and decades of exposition here. So anyway,
does he have a daughter that hates him? I guess that's really the main question.
Well, I haven't played through 5 all the way, so I don't know. Could be.
All right. Well, I think this is an auspicious start to this final segment. Alex seems to be in high spirits, regardless of how much he must have hated the second half of Bullet Train, which was just more of what the first half offered.
What, did I like the first half? I don't think so.
Before I just prepare my defenses against all your attacks regarding this movie, I will say the one thing where we probably agree 100%, and that is that this movie is too long. And I think it's even longer when you're watching it the second time, which was the case with me. Because when you are watching it a second time, you are very aware of how much more you have to go. So as the train was, approaching its destination, I was like, wait, we still need the backstory for the dad, and we need to meet Michael Shannon, and we still
Who
need to
was the
find out.
person that just kept saying bitch every other word?
Zazie Beetz.
Okay.
Deadpool 2, she's Domino in Deadpool 2.
I watched Deadpool 2, so
Yeah. You remember
that's
Domino?
how memorable it was.
She's
Fucking
she's from the
okay.
comics.
When after she shows up,
Her thing doesn't work. So if you're gonna complain about her, I also agree with that.
Just I'm pulling the curtain back for the folks here. After she showed up, and then I think Brad Pitt or someone is talking to Joey King, and I was like, all right. And then I hit the little X button on my PlayStation controller, and it told me I had 42 minutes left in this. I was like, fuck this. I texted Julio. I'm like, absolutely not. Because we did this last night. It was already like 1 a.m. at that point. And I was just like, absolutely fucking not. And I told Julio, I was like, let's just do this before we record tomorrow. Even
Alex,
then today.
I wore the same shirt just to preserve the illusion that we were.
too.
You just gave away.
I have a different hat on, but yeah.
Well, that's all right.
I'm sorry. It's integral to the story here.
Just to make your point that the movie broke you, the runtime.
It definitely did. And then, well, even before we meet Michael Shannon, we get like the grandpa, or not the grandpa, but the older Asian man.
Where do you know him from?
Do I know him?
You do. I looked up his filmography because I'm like, where do I know him from? And I looked up his filmography. I'm like, okay, this movie, Alex has seen it.
Oh, the Wolverine.
Recently too.
He's also in Endgame, but I've only seen that the one time. So he plays Scorpion in the new Mortal Kombat movies. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kimura. We're supposed to know him from somewhere.
No, his son. You mean? I don't think so. From Bullet Train now. So you gave up. Yeah. You're like, I can't do this for 40 more minutes.
Well, yeah, especially at that point in time in the evening, and I was just like this. I think we talked about it on After Hours when that Teddy Hart documentary dropped on Peacock. Like, it was like 3.5 hours long, and I started it at 1 a.m., but I just could not stop watching it, and so I watched the whole thing. So Bullet Train did not have me hooked in that way. So I watched it first thing this morning to finish it up, and it felt like another hour in the movie, and it really at one point just feels like too many cooks.
Yes, towards the end when it keeps going. It keeps going, which is a shame because I think that means that by the time the Sandra Bullock shows up, you were like, I don't care.
She looks good, but they're just standing in front of a green screen. I'm like, this would be kind of cool if Brad Pitt and Sandra Bullock were really in Kyoto. I think it was from your letterbox or maybe Curtis's. It got me linked to a review that was like a 5-star review that said like whatever town they're from. They're like, after 2.5 hours in the theater, you could hear one person go, "Tangerines just fell out of that truck. I'm going to kill myself."
That was not mine.
No, like, you know how it shows the reviews you've liked. I got to it from either yours or Curtis's page.
Then that might have been mine.
Nothing was as bad as the Ryan Reynolds reveal. That like made me just.
But that is one of the most memorable things for me, just because how weird, fascinating it is that Ryan Reynolds is at a point in his career, in his life, and this I mentioned in my Letterboxd review, where a 5-second shot of him is a punchline, just because it's him, not because of, it's like if you change the actor there, then the joke doesn't work. Like the joke, as it were. I don't think it's funny. I thought it was just like a head scratcher, but I understand why they think it's funny, right? Because it's Ryan Reynolds. It's not that if you replace him with, I don't know, Jim from The Office, it's like, it's weird, but then it's not a joke anymore. But with him, it's like the joke is it's Ryan Reynolds.
It's that joke from The Hangover 3 that you hated. That like.
Which one?
I'm sorry, not the joke, the plot point that you hated, but it's in the same movie. Because remember how they reflect back on the first Hangover where he says, "Man, Marshall's gonna be mad at me for that one," and like in this, he keeps talking about like, "Why'd Barry call off on this one?" And then it gets to, I was like, "Oh."
Carver.
My sister, having seen this movie before, watched the second hour with me this morning, and she said like, I was like, I hated that Ryan Reynolds thing, and she's like, I know. She's like, I watched your face at the reveal, and like you could not fake like the look of just detest on your face, look of scorn.
I mean, but that is just a failed joke. Like, take it out of the movie and it's still really long. So
Yes, but it's one of those things when I'm already unhappy where I'm at, and then they have the fucking temerity to do that I'm just like. So you're going to be positive, so I'll let you do the lion's share. I'll read my Letterboxd review because I know last night when we were like at the halfway point, I was kind of like, I was all over the place because I was so dissatisfied with what I was watching. So my Letterboxd review is as follows. As always, Brad Pitt is effortlessly cool, and Michael Shannon playing Revolver Ocelot is at least funny. Outside of that, this is damn near close to Boondock Saints levels of isn't this clever? An unbearably long exhibition of everything wrong with modern filmmaking. I implore you to just watch Smokin' Aces instead. Spoiler, I honestly think I groaned louder at the Ryan Reynolds reveal than I did at Rey Skywalker.
Calm down. I know the wood is fresh, but let's not be hasty.
That's the danger of Letterboxd is like, because I make myself log my reviews right after I watch a movie, so sometimes they'll either be way inflated or way too overly intense. But still, Eddie, our friend Eddie, commented on it. He said something like, "He had me until Smokin' Aces."
Well, I agree with a lot of it, except the Rise of Skywalker part and also the Boondock Saints part. I don't think there's anything in this movie as weirdly out of place as when Willem Dafoe
dresses in drag.
Yes, because it's not that Willem Dafoe is in drag; it's just Willem Dafoe is in drag, and they don't recognize him as Willem Dafoe, right? Like
and he looks like the gremlin in drag. Anyway, okay, so that seemed to it got way too cute for me at certain points. But even though I don't really care for a lot of the dialogue he has, Brad Pitt's cool, and I do like that one dude we were talking about last night, Brian Tyree. Yeah, and
were you bummed that he was not dead?
No, I was happy because he was one of the characters I enjoyed the most.
Okay, that's cool because I was happy. Here's the thing about the second half. I think that it has the best. I don't know if it's the best moments in the movie, but I think it's the most satisfying moments in the movie. But it also has all the shit that you're like, just cut this. Let's get to the end. And Brian Tyree Henry first dying and then coming back is one of those things because the way he dies is like it's really sad, but it's also cool, right? Like it pays off the thing with the water bottle, and then she kills him in a pretty cold-blooded way. Shoots him point blank, but then when he comes back, it pays off the fact that he was wearing the vest after all. And I caught it this time because I was looking for it, that he puts the sticker on her back to gotta give her away. And
Diesel.
Well, then were you sad when Kick-Ass died?
I don't think I was sad about anything that happened in this movie, but
were you bummed? Because I was bummed that he was out of the movie.
That wasn't the end. That's an end kill.
Or close to the end.
It wasn't.
No, I'm saying it should have been close to the end. Like I wouldn't put that as
climax, but that's not the type of, that's a climax kill. Where you see the silhouette or like out, you just hear the gunshot and then someone comes out. Who made it? It was pretty metal when it cut to him and he's just fucking squirting blood out of his neck. But not enough to save any of it. I was kind of hoping at some point Benito was going to come back, Bad Bunny, but it was not to be. I did start out loud singing when the train crashed and it went into slow motion and everyone's floating. I was like, if I could save time in a bottle. Like, this is just the Quicksilver scene.
Quicksilver was out of the movie by then. Did that showing up, was it
nice twist?
Yeah, and him being like an old dude that can take care of business, exposing Joey King as the Snake. I think that
I told you, man. I'm always down with any type of samurai sword action. It's me and Tarantino have that in common. It's just like the blood's all CG.
You want real blood.
It's not hard to do squibs. Okay, I mean, it is to do them correctly, and fake blood ain't cheap. but it's I don't know. Also, how much of this movie's real to begin with, so I can't get too mad about that.
The actors are real. I think that those are real stunts.
Maybe.
They're
I don't know.
pulling.
Deep fakes, man.
In Pitt, we trust.
Okay, and when he wrote on the toilet, the lid, "Snake, do not open." That got me too.
Yeah, I think it's funny. He gets bit, but of course, he already had the antidote from his fight with Zazie Beetz. Did you have a? You're probably too disconnected from it to even think about it. But when he starts talking to the old man, Pitt starts talking to the old man about fate. I got Riders of Justice echoes. It's just because we've had that conversation fairly recently where you're talking about, the events, the chain of events that lead you to a point. And that's the whole, it was weird because I'd forgotten that the movie actually tries to say something about anything. In my mind, it was just dumb action in a train, and then, Michael Shannon dies. But spoiling the hell out of this movie, by the way. So hopefully you've seen it, listeners. And if not, you checked out already. But so yeah, I'd forgotten that the old man tells Pitt, and the entire movie, I guess, ends up being about how what he perceives as bad luck might be part of a bigger plan that's actually a vehicle towards good things. So that by the time that his bad luck ruins Sandra Bullock's car, he's like, well, there's probably a reason for this. There's a bigger plan.
It's so fucking dumb, but he's like, "Ooh, wasabi peas," and picks him up off the ground. I can't remember what it was. I just watched something. It might have been Expendables 2 that ends with that same song. I just want to celebrate. So when the Canyons finished earlier today, I just started singing that song over the credits.
That's the mind space that Alex and I. That's the mind space that we are in right now. Just interspersing.
Going on up top. Dumb fun. Speaking of that, my buddy Justin told me he said, "I honestly enjoyed this movie. It's just high scale trash." Our buddy Tape Machines had a pretty funny retort to my saying it sucked, and he goes, "Oh man, you must have just not noticed all the people being," and then he capitalized it, charismatic.
He's making a good point, whether he's making it seriously or not.
I checked his review. He gave it 2 stars, so he didn't really care for it either.
Well, while we're talking about ratings, I gave it 3.5 the first time, and I'm sticking with the 3.5. I was afraid when I went back to Letterboxd to see how much. I was like, did I give it 4? Because I remember enjoying it up to a point, so much that I could have seen myself giving it 4. But no, I think that it's that the last 20, 30 minutes, they just really... they don't need to be there. This movie needed to be an hour 45. Moves so fast that I don't care, about anything other than having a good time, and then it's over. Because really, going back to that message, I was like, you don't need it to be about anything. Even if you're going to be, I wonder if that's something that the book digs more into, the book that this is adapted from. That here in the movie, they're more focused on like the stunts and the action, or whatever. That the overarching theme of Brad Pitt's bad luck, it doesn't really matter, so you really shouldn't even focus on it. But yeah, 3.5. I still had a good time. I would recommend it, just with the caveat of like, it's too long, so just settle in. Get the large soda.
It's there are so many movies like this that people think suck that I adore, or at least adore to a 3.5-star level. So, this is something where someone's asking my opinion of it, so that's why I'm giving it. But at the same time, I can't necessarily fault anyone for liking this. I'll joke with you about it, or people that know I'm kidding, but this is absolutely not a movie that I would like judge someone's like mental acumen for enjoying. This is not it's not like that kind of look I have when like someone tells me Family Guy is their favorite show. That's a whole different like kettle of fish. I gave it 1 star. I would give it like a D. I was very like
1 star sounds so much harsher than a C.
I said D.
Oh, D.
Yeah,
that is accurately harsh, I guess.
It's big and fancy, and like I said, I like Brad Pitt and Michael Shannon doing dumb shit like rolling a revolver down his sleeve. It's okay, but this was like it was near painful towards the end, because it was so long, and because I was just so uninterested with everything that was going on. And when the van had lemons and tangerines on the side, I was just like, let's just get out of here, man.
That
Let's
was
just
something
call it a
else.
day.
That was another thing that I remember thinking, was like, oh my God, we still need to kill Joey King. Everything was happening. I was like, I know that she gets hit by the car. I forgot that Brian Tyree Henry was behind the wheel, but that Shannon is having the face off with Pitt, and I knew that there was another story beat coming up, and it was just, that's a punishing experience. And I like the movie, so I can only imagine if you don't like it, it's even worse.
Hey man, I'm the asshole. Made $240 million, so just not for me. I'm glad I saw it though, because it was one that I had on my list, like I wanted to see.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm try to see almost every Brad Pitt movie that I can. And there were things that I took away from it that I did enjoy, like Brian Tyree Henry, and yeah, that's it. Bad Bunny was funny, but he had one speed, like he just had one gear, and it was just like
I think that going forward, maybe it hasn't hit you yet, but going forward, you're gonna see people like Joey King or Zazie Beetz or even Kick-Ass, and you'll go like, "Oh yeah, from Bullet Train."
Kick-Ass does have a spectacular mustache. I can't remember if I mentioned that already, but
you didn't. No.
Very strong mustache. Very much respected. Good looking cat. And Joey King is always going to be Talia al Ghul. Thank you very much. We covered this.
All right.
Who knows? Yeah, I don't know who Zazie Beetz is. Apparently, I've seen her in movies before, but wait, is she the girl that Joaquin thinks he's dating in Joker?
In Joker, yes. Okay. Well, I mean,
Oof.
I didn't need to bring that up, but yes.
Zazie just. I was gonna say that. I don't remember Deadpool 2, so she 2 strikes. She's got one more at bat.
Okay, well, enough about Bullet Train. KT Oti, I think I remember you guys being mostly positive about this. So you're on my team. And Alex, like he said, he's the asshole. He's on the other side. But that's okay. This is all done with love. Hopefully you enjoyed this video review. And thank you, everybody, for checking it out. Coming up next, I am not sure. But there'll be another one of these soon. And
we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah. I need to look at the list.
Not on a bullet train, though.
No.
Okay, real quick, before we get out of here, and yes, thank you, patrons, so much. Love you all so dearly. Would you ride a bullet train? You ever go to Japan? Those shits go like 180 miles an hour.
Are they expensive, or is it just like taking the bus?
It's I don't know if it's like taking the bus, but it's it might be like tantamount to taking the train here.
Oh, then yeah.
I know it's a pretty public form of transportation. But yeah, I've watched like this. I watched this American vlogger get on one, and he had like a speedometer on his phone, and he was just like, "Holy shit!" Like, because we don't really have anything that travels that fast here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, put it on the bucket list. We'll
the Contrarians go to Kyoto,
and they podcast from inside a bullet train.
Yeah. Will it into existence. If I believe I deserve it, the universe will serve it.
All right. Well, thank you again, guys. We'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.
That summer of 19